Stop. Seriously, stop scrolling for just a second. What if I told you that a whopping 70% of nonprofits out there struggle to figure out if social media is actually making a difference? That's a huge number. And we're talking years of data, tons of posts, endless spreadsheets, and it all just led to more questions than answers. Yet our nonprofit was practically drowning in likes, shares, impressions, and we felt the constant pressure to prove our social media was doing something, to show our board, our donors, that it wasn't just a giant time suck. Then we stumbled upon this one specific way of looking at our data, that single little shift in our analysis that changed everything. And I genuinely mean forever. So stick around because I'm about to spill the beans on the exact approach that took us from being totally confused to having crystal clarity. It's really no exaggeration. That one shift in how we analyzed our social media campaign results, it was like someone finally handed us the keys after we'd been fumbling with the lock for ages. All of a sudden, those overwhelming metrics started to click. We weren't just staring at numbers anymore. We were seeing stories, getting to know our audience on a much deeper level. And most importantly, we could finally, with real confidence, prove the incredible value of our social media efforts we're bringing to our mission. So if you're a nonprofit struggling to make heads or tails of your social data, if you feel like you're just shouting into the void with your content, or if you're desperate to show some real tangible results from all your online work, then this is definitely for you. I'm gonna break down the common traps nonprofits fall into with social media analytics, and then unveil the specific analytical framework, we call it the mission metric matchup, that totally revolutionized our approach. And don't worry, this isn't about needing super complicated software or a PhD in data science. It's actually all about a smarter way to think about the data you already have. Let's be real, the whole world of social media analytics can feel like a maze, especially when you're a nonprofit already juggling a million other things. At our nonprofit, we were certainly lost in it. We'd pull up the reports on Facebook analytics, and then Instagram insights, and then Twitter's analytics, and then TikTok's in-app analytics, which are different from the desktop analytics, you name it. We had spreadsheets practically bursting with data, reach, impressions, engagement rates, follower growth. Our weekly meetings would involve us all staring at these numbers, nodding, and then kind of just like, okay, just shrugging. We found ourselves asking, what did a sudden spike in impressions really mean for our fundraising goals? How did 50 new followers actually translate into more volunteers for an upcoming event? We track click-through rates, sure, but were those clicks actually leading to meaningful actions, or just people casually browsing? The platforms threw so much data at us, it was overwhelming. We were definitely ticking the box of doing analytics, but we weren't actually getting insights that we could use. The root of the problem was that we were chasing vanity metrics. You know, numbers that look good on paper, but don't really connect to what you're trying to achieve with your core mission. We'd get all excited about a video that got a ton of likes, but we couldn't actually say why that mattered beyond a quick feel-good dopamine hit moment. We were just basically measuring activity, not actual impact. And this confusion had real consequences. It made it incredibly tough to justify our social media budget and all the time we were pouring into it. When people would ask, so how's Facebook helping us acquire new donors? We kind of just stumble pointing to follower counts or a post that did well, but we didn't really have a hard one-to-one or evidence that directly linked those things to, say, more donations or more people signing up for our programs. We couldn't say for sure which campaigns were working and which ones were just draining our limited resources. It was frustrating, pretty demotivating, and honestly, a little bit embarrassing. We knew social media was important, but we were failing to prove its tangible value. And that meant we were missing chances to make our strategies better, to get more funding, and ultimately to serve our community better. We were just like stuck in a loop of posting, hoping, and then kind of scratching our heads when we looked at the results, whether they were good results or bad results. So what was the aha moment. The big change didn't come from some fancy new tool or some algorithm. It actually came from a complete flip in how we were looking at things and what we were putting a priority on. A simple but profound realization that led us to create what we now call the mission metric matchup. It all started during a particularly painful review of a campaign. By all the usual metrics, everything looked okay. I mean, actually, it was good engagement, great reach, but it didn't make a difference in our actual goal, getting more signups for a new support program. We were just about to write it off with well, awareness is good too, I guess, when someone asked this brutally simple question. If our main goal was X, which of these numbers directly tell us if we got X? And why are we spending so much time looking at all the other ones? We were looking at analytics that said 10,000 people had watched our video, and someone offhandedly said, oh, it'd be great if we could talk to all 10,000 of those people. Boom. That was the light bulb moment. We realized we were starting our analysis completely backwards. We were taking the data the social platforms gave us and then trying to somehow make it fit our goals. What we needed to do is flip it on its head. We had to start with our mission-specific campaign goal, and then, only then, pick out a tiny handful of metrics that would directly, without a doubt, measure success for that specific goal. So the mission metric matchup is basically this. Number one, define a crystal clear, measurable campaign goal. Before you even think about metrics, you've got to nail down what success actually looks like for this specific campaign in real terms. Raise awareness is just too fuzzy. Increase donations by 15% through this campaign, or recruit 20 new volunteers for the spring cleanup. Now those are clear. This lines up perfectly with what experts always say. Make sure your metrics align with your goals. So for example, when we raised $60,000 to buy a handicapped accessible bus for a special needs school, we identified the bus we needed to buy, and we made clear that our goal was $60,000. The way we achieved that goal was using social media, and the metrics that we reviewed every day were measured against that clear and concise goal. It took us 8 months, but we did it 100% through organic social media and only with video. Okay, so the second part of this method is to identify primary action metrics. For the goal that you just defined, what are the 1 to 2 key actions someone needs to take on social media or coming from social media that directly show you're making progress? If your goal is donations, a primary action metric is donations made via a unique tracking link. If it's volunteer signups, it's volunteer form completions that came from social media referrals. This isn't about likes or shares yet. This is about the ultimate action that you want. Number 3, select supporting diagnostic metrics. Okay, once you have those main action metrics, then you can pick 2 to 3 supporting metrics. These are the ones that help you understand why your primary metrics are what they are. For instance, if your donations, your primary, are low, was it because the click-through rate or the CTR on your call to action was bad, meaning the message wasn't hitting home? Or was your reach low, so not enough of the right people even saw it? These supporting metrics like CTR, engagement rate on specific calls to action, or the conversion rate from your landing page help you figure out what's going on and how to optimize, but they don't steal the spotlight from your main goal metric. Number 4, ignore or seriously deprioritize everything else for that campaign. This is the toughest part, but it's also the most important. If a metric doesn't directly tell you something about your specific campaign goal or help you diagnose its performance, you consciously decide to push it to the back burner for that campaign's analysis. Sure, keep an eye on overall follower growth, but don't let it cloud your judgment of a campaign that's specifically designed to get petition signatures, for example. Let me give you a quick example. When we raised the $60,000 to buy a handicapped accessible bus, we knew that our main metric was money raised. Our supporting metrics were views and link clicks. So we have a large following, and so we know that every video we create is gonna average, at that time, 100 to 500,000 views. So we would make one video, depending on how many views we got and how many dollars were gained from those views, we knew that the lever we had to move was the amount of videos we created, because every video we got averaged 100 to 500,000 views. What's beautiful about today's social media algorithms is that everyone, from an organization with 0 followers to an organization like ours with a little over 4 million followers, are guaranteed viewership. Whether that's 1,000 views, 10,000 views, or 100,000 views, depends on the quality of your video. But regardless, you're still guaranteed viewership. So for us, supporting metric, viewership, the way we could increase viewership was increasing the amount of video output. We saw that the main metric was affected by the supporting metric, so more views resulted in more dollars. Suddenly, our analysis became super focused. We knew exactly what success looked like and which numbers told that story. Everything else was great, but it just became secondary information, not the main event. So here's my challenge to you. For your very next social media campaign, give the mission metric matchup a try. Define that one clear goal, pick 1 to 2 primary action metrics, and just a couple of supporting ones. See how it changes your perspective and hopefully your results. I'd absolutely love to hear how it goes, so drop a comment below and share what your mission metric matchup looks like for your next campaign, or any aha moments that you've had along the way. And hey, if you found this video helpful, please give this video a like. It really helps us reach more nonprofits that could benefit from this approach. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more tips and strategies to help your nonprofit thrive in the digital world. We're all in this together, trying to make the world a better place, and clear, impactful communication is so key. Thank you for watching.